So let's take a look at today's edition of Algebra 1. We're going to solve the quadratics from factoring, but it's not in standard form. What does that mean? In other words, it doesn't equal 0. So first thing I need to do is make it equal 0. All right? You remember how we used to do where we would move the x to the other side and we change his sign? So think about this. If I were to move him to the other side, right, I'm adding 8 to both sides. And I'm going to put him underneath this 4. And the reason I'm going to do that is because these guys are kind of the same term, right? So this guy, he goes away, and now this is equal to 0, all right? And these two, they're going to give you 12, all right? And then this is not like terms with anything, so we're just going to bring him down, all right? So this is what we have now. Now it's in standard form. So next thing we need to do is check for our GCF. Is there a GCF between 2, 10, and 12? And they're all divisible by 2. So if I divide this by 2 and divide that by 2, because my GCF is equal to 2, well then my 2 comes out in front right here. I'm going to open my parentheses, and I'm going to divide each piece by 2. So 2k squared divided by 2, our remainder is k squared. 10k divided by 2, our remainder is 5k. 12 divided by 2, our remainder is 6. And 0 divided by 2, still just 0. I'm going to close my parentheses there. So now we have A being our 1, B, and C. And so we're going to draw our box. And we're going to put our k squared in the first box, plus 6 in the last box. 1 times 6 is 6. So remember what this means. I'm thinking I need to be doing my little table. What table? 6 divided by x. Then you turn it to a table. And then we say 6 divided by x plus x. So let's check it. 6 divided by x, turn it to a table. Add another column. 6 divided by x plus, whoops, back up, arrow over, plus x. And I'm looking for a 5. I'm looking for my 5, since that is my B value. Once I find my 5, whatever goes with it over here goes with it over here. And we attach a k to it, so I'm going to put my k here, put my k there. Now let's scroll on down, see if we can find a 6. I'm sorry, a 5. And here's a 5 right here. So what does 5 go with? 2 and 3. So 2, 3. If I look over here, 2 and 3 add to 5. They multiply to 6. Awesome. So we'll put a 2 in one of the boxes, a 3 in the other box, and now we just take the GCF of everything. The only thing that gives me k squared is k times k. K times what is 2k? Well, we're going to multiply it by 2. 2 times what gives me any of this over here? K times either one of those? That's going to be a positive 3. So factored form. All right, we got our factored form. And our factored form is equal to 2 parentheses because of my GCF. K plus 2. K plus 3 equals 0. And now I need to know what are my zeros, my roots, my x-intercepts. So I set each piece equal to 0, right? So in other words, we're going to solve for k. So in other words, I'm just going to rewrite this as k plus 2 equals 0 and k plus 3 equals 0. And I'm just going to write the 2 right there and just cross him off because he's gone. So how do I figure this out? Well, I subtract 2 on both sides. And this is going to give me, if I bring down my k, this is equal to negative 2. If I subtract 3 from this one, then that cancels. I bring down my k, and k is equal to 0 minus 3, negative 3. And so my solution set is negative 2 and negative 3. Or my roots, my zeros, my x-intercepts. All right, so let's check it real quick. Our original problem, 2x squared plus 10x plus 12, right? Because it had to be in standard form. All right. Negative 3, negative 2. Hey, look at that. Let's check. Let's keep going with that. Let me get rid of this table up here. All right. Then I can do factored form. I need the 2 out in front. Otherwise, it's not equivalent as for factored form. There you go. Same line because one's sitting on top of the other. And then my roots are also in where they say they are, right there. All right, let's take a look at one more problem, and then, yeah. So again, not in standard form because this negative 8 is on the wrong side. So I need to move him to this side. Also notice this is my A, this is my B, and I'm missing my C term. However, when my negative 8 comes over here, it will become my B term. So again, I move to the other side, so that's going to cancel. Now this equals 0, and I have 3m squared minus 11m plus now a positive 8. All right, so we're going to check for GCF, 3, 11, 8. Are they all divisible by 2? Are they all divisible by 3? Are they all divisible by anything other than 1? No. So nothing happens there. So let's go straight to our box. And so we have 3m squared in this box, positive 8 in that box. 3 times 8, 24. And so now I'm thinking, (24) divided by x, 24 divided by x plus x. Looking for negative 11. And whatever goes with negative 11 is going to go in these two boxes with an m. So let's check it. 24 divided by x, turn it to a table, add another column, 24 divided by x plus x, looking for a negative 11, don't see one yet. Let's go over here, let's type in a few numbers, let's go back over here, let's see if we can find, oh, here's an 11. Well, what does that go with? 8 and 3. What about if I typed a negative 8? Does that go with negative 11? So sometimes it's hard to read that, but when you have a negative there, you need to know this is a negative and this is also a negative. So a negative 3, a negative 8. Now we just take the GCF of everything. These two guys, they're both common about 3 and m. These two, they're both common about m. That now multiplies to give you this. M times negative 8 is negative 8m. Negative 3m and a positive 8, the only common thing about them is 1. So factored form. We have 3m minus 8 and m plus 1 equals 0. And so now we want to solve for our root or 0. So we will set each one separately equal to 0. We are going to add 8 here. 3m comes down. 0 plus 8 is 8. Divide by 3. And m is 8 divided by 3. If you were to type that in, that does not simplify. Over here, if you were to subtract 1 on both sides, m would now be equivalent to negative 1. And so you could check all of this if you type each piece in, and I will do that now just to make sure that everything is correct. This crosses there, and I don't know what that number is, but if I type 8 divided by 3, hey, that's that same number that's over here. Okay, it's just rounded a little bit. There's no way you can turn this into that, so you have to know how to factor to get this. So my roots, my zeros, okay. Maybe we'll write that. Roots, zeros, x intercept. It is the solution set of 8 over 3 and negative 1. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.